Greetings everyone, my name is Nathan Ngoge and this is my master class on French bean crop production. And today we are going to learn about French beans crop production. French beans is a crop that can give you, as an agropreneur, it can be able to give you good revenue. But of course, you have to know how to produce it. You must know how to grow it, and also have all the details so that you are able to produce it successfully. And this is what we are going to learn in this lesson. And starting off, you have to know that the French bean crop is a crop that has not been traditionally been produced in Africa. It's actually a crop that came, that was brought in mainly from Europe, mainly the French. They brought it and then we started producing. And it is a crop that we produce mainly for export. It's not a crop that is mainly used by the local population in Africa. And therefore, as we are going to produce it, we have to produce it in the backdrop that it is a crop that is used for export. And that's where it fetches good money. It can also be used locally, but it doesn't fetch good money per kg, and therefore mainly for export. What is really important when you are dealing with the French beans, the first step is a contract, and this contract is mostly given by the export companies. In many African countries, we have these export companies. They have outgrowers who grow French beans for them, or they themselves grow the French beans. And once they grow, they export to the markets, in overseas markets in Europe, in America, and in parts of Asia. And therefore, you must have a contract as a farmer. And most of the companies usually require the farmers to be in groups so that they can be able to produce and have volume. Because what they require is volume, because as they export, the issues of freight and cost will come in. And therefore, they must have consistency in terms of volume, in terms of quality, and such like issues. And therefore, when they are giving you a contract, you must be in groups so that when you are farming, you can be able to have farms over 50 acres, that's around 20 hectares and above, so that when you produce, you're able to produce volumes of the French beans. And therefore, once they give you the contract, there will be details of the contract, such as the time they are going to collect your produce, the price they are going to give you at, and the terms of renewal. Because at some point when you feel maybe the contract is not going as you had agreed, they also have ways to resolve such issues. And therefore, once they have a contract, you are required to be in groups. Once you are in group and you register the group, then you can be able to sign the contract. The other thing, you can be even a cooperative. You form a cooperative, and then, or you already have a cooperative, and then you meet the companies, and then you negotiate for a contract. The other criteria, you can also be an individual. And of course, when you are an individual, you must have land, good land, such that you're able to produce every month, or you are able to produce continuously, because they need continuous production, such that there is collection on a weekly basis, so that they can be able to sustain and feed their market with French beans. Because these companies, you usually find, they usually export these crops on a weekly basis, and therefore the farmers should be able to produce on a weekly basis. And therefore, as an individual, you must have land such that you are able to plant like an acre of land on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis, so that at some point you find that you are producing continuously without any lack of the crop. When you are looking at the companies, when they'll be looking at giving you a contract, first of all, they must look at, of course, the land. They must look at the land to see the area where they are going, there is enough land. The other thing they are going to look at is they're going to look at the fertility. If the land is fertile, if the land is sustaining other crops, they are going to look at that. And also they are going to look at the farmers themselves. They look at the seriousness of what they are doing. In case maybe the farmers are doing other crops and they are doing them successfully, they are going to, of course, the company will know if they are told to manage the French bean crop, they are going to manage it successfully. And therefore, those are the criteria that they use. Also, they look at water. If the farmers have access to permanent water source. Maybe it could be a river, maybe a dam, it could be a canal, it could be a borehole. So long as there is a permanent water source, then the company will be comfortable to give a contract. Because apart from the French beans being rain-fed, you find in instances when the weather is dry, the French beans will need water so that they can be able to produce the quality, exportable quality that the company requires. And therefore, having water is very important. And therefore, before the contract is signed, the company agrees to give a contract, there must be an access to a good water source. The second consideration would be the seeds. And of course, before we go to the seeds, of course, the companies, apart from giving you a contract, they're going to second to you an agronomist. And this agronomist is going to guide you on how to plant, the various aspects, the quality requirement, what time, the period in which you are going to harvest the French bean pods, and the exportable quality that is required, and all those inputs. And most of those things you are going to learn here. And therefore, after the contract is done, then we have the issue of the seeds. And most of the exporting companies, most of them have developed their own seed variety of French beans. So you'll find many of the exporting companies have their own varieties. And these varieties, most of them are produced. They have a contract with producers, or they themselves, the exporting companies, have farms where they produce these seeds. So you just they have production sites, and then those production sites for variety improvement and maybe research and development, and then later on they have fields where they do bulk production of the seeds before those seeds and then taken up to be used for French beans production. And this the French bean, the seeds, before they are planted, they are usually coated, what we call seed dressing. And after the seed dressing is done, the seeds then they are given to the farmers, and these seeds will now be used for production. And the seed dressing is important because it protects the young seed. Once you plant it and then it germinates, it protects the young seed from maybe rotting bacteria and also the insects that may attack the young crop when it is still in the soil, or maybe it is in its young life once it germinates. And therefore, the seed dressing is very important. And when you are talking about the seeds, we are also going to talk about a unit of land. We are going to talk about a unit of land because the French beans, they are usually planted in units. And a unit of land measures 18 meters by 10 meters. And that is a unit of land. And this unit of land will require 1,900 seeds. And therefore, when the farmers are given seeds to plant, you will find they are going to be given according to the units of land. And a farmer could have maybe 1 unit, could have 5 units, 10 units. But it is encouraged that the higher the units, the better. But you will find that since the farmer, you come as a group, and of course you have maybe limitation of land. Therefore, you may find maybe if you are 100 farmers and then each has 1 or 2 units of land, you are going to have to see that the production will be big, because the combined land will be significant. And therefore, that is the unit of land. And once it is produced, the unit of land is required, this unit of land, to give a harvest of 60 kgs. That is that is minimum 60 kgs per harvest, and we have 4 harvests. And therefore, a unit of land where you are going to plant 1900 seeds, within the 4 harvests, which is in a month's time, it will give you a minimum of 240 kgs. And of course, this is the minimum. We have farmers who have done more than this. We have farmers who have done per each harvest like 100, and you find at some point after the 4 harvests, they have almost 400 kgs per unit of land. So to get the total production, of course, if you have 10 units, you're going to get 400 multiplied by the 10 units. And therefore, that is how the seeds are given to the farmers, and that's the calculation on the unit of land, or also the production that is given.